This was a uniquely German form of torture. The deserter's feet were shackled with iron chains, the other end nailed into a boulder. His comrades left him with just a few bullets and some rations, ordering him to stay behind and hold off the Soviet forces. The moment his squad moved out, the soldier grabbed his sniper rifle and started loading rounds. But by the time he took aim, his comrades had already vanished into the forest. Now he had to figure out how to break free from these chains. He raised his sniper rifle and fired at the chain. The deafening crack was followed by searing pain that made him scream. But the chain was too thick. It wouldn't break. He needed another plan. Rifling through his pack, he found a pair of glasses. Suddenly, an idea struck him. Carefully, he used his knife to remove the lenses, then pressed the two pieces together. He snapped off a pine branch and scraped off some resin with his blade. He chewed the resin in his mouth until it softened, then used it to seal the edges of the lenses. He inserted another pine branch and poured water into the gap between the lenses. He'd successfully created a makeshift magnifying glass. Next, he covered the nail with some moss and focused the sunlight through the magnifying glass onto it. Soon, the moss caught fire. The soldier quickly gathered dry branches to feed the flames. Once the branches burned down, he poured cold water onto the stone. Following the principle of thermal expansion and contraction, the rock began to crack and pop. He tried pulling the nail out, but no luck. Still, he didn't give up and kept repeating the process. Gradually, the nail began to emerge. Before long, a large hole had formed in the stone, but soon only 1 cup of water remained in his canteen. This was his last shot. He repeated the steps, pouring the water onto the stone, then pulled at the nail with every ounce of strength he had, but the nail wouldn't budge. Desperation set in. Then suddenly he remembered. He still had a few bullets left. He pulled out all his remaining rounds and emptied the gunpowder into a metal can. Then he poured the powder into the hole, tossed in the burning moss, and piled up some rock fragments to create a crude bomb. He ducked behind the large boulder. Suddenly, the powder exploded, sending up white smoke. He rushed over to check, but the nail still hadn't moved. Frustrated, he kicked at it twice. The nail seemed to loosen slightly. Then he used his rifle strap to hook a rock from a distance. This was his last resort. Gripping the stone tightly with both hands, he hammered it down on the nail. He pounded away day and night, his hands covered in blisters. Finally, he pulled at the chain. The nail was starting to give. With one mighty yank, the nail came free. Perhaps life is like that iron nail. It can trap a person completely, but as long as you don't give up and keep fighting, eventually we can all escape life's prison.